Hello?
Miss Lestico, guess what time it is?
What time?
It's time for math!
Yay!
Hey, first grade! Welcome to another exciting week of math.
That's right. This week we get to learn about something completely new.
That's right.
Well, what is it, Miss Lime?
Oh, we are going to learn all about fractions. Miss Lestico, what is a fraction?
Well, we're going to talk a lot about fraction, and that's basically just how we divide up objects. So you might have half of an object or a fourth of an object, but a fraction is just essentially making equal parts of a whole object.
That's right, equal parts of a whole. And we do that with a really fancy word, Miss Lestico. Do you know what it is?
It's called to partition. So partitioning means dividing up the equal part of an object into other equal parts. We kind of remember the term equal from our 2D shapes. Remember, one shape had all equal sides, a square, and so that meant they were all the exact same length. So when you're looking for equal parts or fractions, you're going to think, are they all the same?
Miss Lestico, we keep saying the word equal and unequal, and that reminds me of our target. And it says, I can determine if a shape is in equal or unequal parts. But that's still, I'm a little confused on that.
Well, I bet we have some friends that can help us figure out equal and unequal parts of fractions.
Ooh, let's watch this video.
Today we are learning how to identify equal parts. When we look at this circle, we can see it's been split into equal parts. We say the parts are equal because we can see that each piece is the same size. By contrast, let's take a look at this circle, which is not split into equal parts. We can see that the two pieces are not the same size, meaning they're not equal parts of the circle. Now that we've seen this example, let's look at this shape and identify if it's split into equal parts. Well, we can see that not all of the parts are the same size, so this shape is not split into equal parts. If we take a look at this triangle and split it up into its different parts, you might notice, well, this one is pointing in a different direction. But if we were to just spin it around, we can see that all of these parts are the same size. Therefore, this shape is split into equal parts. We could say this triangle is split into 4 equal parts. Now let's practice some of these together. Which of these shapes is split into 4 equal parts? Well, let's start by looking at this first shape. How many parts is this shape split into? This shape is split into 4 parts. Are all of the parts equal? No. We can see that all of the parts are not the same size. These are not equal parts. Let's look at this next shape. How many parts is this shape split into? This shape is split into 1, 2, 3 parts. It can't be our answer because we were looking for a shape that was split into 4 parts. What about this last one? How many parts is this shape split into? This shape is split into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. Okay. Are the parts equal? Yes. All of the parts of this shape are equal. This shape is split into 4 equal parts. Now it's time for you to practice on your own. Which of these shapes is split into 3 equal parts? We can see this first shape is split into 3 parts, but they're not equal, so it's not split into equal parts. The second shape is split into 3 parts as well, and they are all equal in size. This is it. The last shape is also split into 3 parts, but those again are not equal. Therefore, only this shape is split into 3 equal parts. Now here's your last problem for this video. Which of these shapes is split into 5 equal parts? Well, the first shape is split into only 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. It can't be this one. The second shape is split into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, and all of them are equal. The last shape, it's also split into 5 parts, but they are not all equal in size. Therefore, this shape is the only correct answer. Today you learned how to identify equal parts in a shape.
That was a really helpful video, Miss Lestico. Equal parts are like if something has the same amount in each part that is partitioned into different sizes or whatever.
That's right. And not equal, or what we call unequal, means that, well, somebody would get either a smaller part or a bigger part, and that's not really fair. It's kind of unequal.
Yeah, like, Miss Lestico, if we were sharing a cookie, I would want to make sure we split that cookie into equal parts because I wouldn't want you to get a bigger half than me. That's not fair.
That's right. So that's why it's really important to help us figure out what's equal and what's not equal or unequal when we're splitting things up.
Okay, so we're going to show you some examples of equal shapes and unequal shapes. Now, we're just going to do the circle, square, and triangle, but you can do this with really any shape.
That's right. I even saw it with a star in the video.
I
And that was really cool to see how we could partition, remember, divide a star into equal parts.
That is so right. Well, let's look at this circle. If I wanted to partition or break into equal parts, I might just draw a line from the top straight down to the bottom. Now, this circle is partitioned into equal parts. They both have the same amount on each side.
Well, if I was going to partition a circle into unequal parts, I might go ahead and make my line really, really far to one side so that this person would only get a tiny little sliver and this person would get most of the circle, and that's definitely unequal.
Okay, well, if I wanted to partition a square into equal parts, maybe I will draw two lines like this. 1, 2. Now, I made 4 equal parts because each part is the exact same size.
That's right, Miss Lynn. I can see 4 triangles in this square, and well, they all look pretty much the exact same. But if I were to make a square unequal, so I could partition it by drawing a line maybe straight up on this side, and then maybe cutting it in half here. And I would have 3 parts, but these 2 are really big squares, and this is a little tiny rectangle, and that is definitely not equal or unequal.
Okay, well, let me see if I can partition this triangle into equal parts. Oh, I'm just going to draw a line straight down, just like this. Now I have 2 equal parts.
Well, if I were to partition this triangle into unequal parts, I could make a little tiny triangle up here. Oh, and I could make a big long rectangle down here. And well, these are definitely unequal parts because this is a little tiny part of the triangle, and this part is huge right there. Does not look equal at all.
It doesn't. Now, the important thing to remember is recognizing if it's an equal part or an unequal part. And all it takes is a little bit of practice to keep looking at that.
That's right. We'll practice partitioning our shapes into equal parts later. But for right now, we're working on deciding, is it equal or unequal?
And when we're working with our shapes, Miss Lestico, we're going to focus on shapes that are split or partitioned into halves, or 2 equal parts, and fourths, 4 equal parts. So I'm going to make a little note right here that halves are 2 equal parts, and fourths are 4 equal parts.
That's right. You can kind of hear how many parts you should be dividing it into based off of the title. So fourths, I hear 4 inside of that word. And halves, well, I know half of something. It means that you cut it right down the middle and then you have 2 sides. So halves would be 2 and fours would be 4.
So, Ms. Lestico, an example of a circle partitioned into halves would look just like this. I have my circle and I partitioned it into 2 equal parts. And I could do the same thing with a square. Here's my square and it is partitioned into 2 equal parts.
Well, if I were to divide those same shapes into fourths, so 4 equal parts, I could put a line straight down the middle of my circle, and then I could put a line across the side right here. Oh, and I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. And if I were to do the same thing with my square, I would put a line straight down the middle, and I could put a line straight across, and now I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts for fourth of a square. It's your turn.
On Seesaw, you have a 2-page assignment. On the first page, we gave you a lot of shapes that are already partitioned, and your job is to determine, are they equal or unequal? If it's equal, you're going to circle equal, and if it's unequal, you're going to circle unequal. Then, on the second page, you have a square and a circle, and a square and a circle. And at the top, we want you to partition them into halves, or 2 equal parts, and fourths, or 4 equal parts.
That's right. And of course, when you're all done, hit that green check mark in the corner. Good luck.